Friday night in the finals took on UVA and got that ACC title. So 9th consecutive if you're keeping score at home. Hello, Tar Heel Nation. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to episode number 2 of the Tar Heel Olympic Spotlight. I'm Jeff Blackwood, one of your Heel brothers. Appreciate y'all listening. Hope everybody's had a good week. Been a busy week. Stuff that we don't talk about here, but I will mention, basketball big time. Football pulled something out. But real quick, before I forget, if any of y'all are going to be in the Charlotte area, I want to mention, and if you've heard us mention this other times, you've also heard us talk about our awesome sponsor, K-Bar Soap. But if you're going to be in the Charlotte area, Southern Christmas Show, they've got, it's at the Park Expo and Conference Center at 800 Briar Creek Road in Charlotte. It's November 15th, 1 to 2, the K-Bar Soap vendor shop. Nathan, Allen, Tori are going to be there, I believe, and come by, say hey, shop with K-Bar, and check out all the awesome stuff he's got, and you receive a mystery gift on top of that. So, if you're in the area, I encourage y'all. I was going to try to make it, but my daughter's got some play stuff for school. If it's not volleyball, she's in a class that puts on a play, and she has to be part of that. So I think that kind of knocks me out for Saturday for at least getting that far, and it probably knocks me out to go to the Wake Forest game too, which kind of stinks. But anyway, so no, that's that, and let's go ahead and kind of get into it, man. Busy week, like I said. There's a lot of places I could start. I'm gonna start with the near and dear to my heart, this time. Volleyball. We talked about them last week and how big of a week it was. Getting a top 10 win, the first top 10 win last week on Friday night. And that was the first one in 9 years. And then we came back, like we again already talked about this last episode, but came back and took Pitt, number 4 Pitt to 5 sets. Really played well. Played very well. Could have beaten just about any team in the country playing as well as we did. But Pitt's just that strong, and especially their best player, who, like I said, Olivia Babcock, probably the best player in the country in my mind, had 45 kills that match. Hard to overcome that. But this week, no. So we had a trip out to California this week. Third top 10 matchup in a row. Friday night took on number 5 Stanford. Didn't go well. We got swept 3 sets to none. First time we've been swept this year, and you get that sometimes, right? It just didn't go well. It started at 10, and I just got home from basketball and all this other kind of stuff, and I'm still battling the ESPN stuff with YouTube TV and all that, so I didn't see it. I wasn't able to see it. I looked at the stats afterwards, and everything, and read up on it. But yeah, this is one of those you get a tough one sometimes. It's marks of good teams are how they come back, and we'll talk about that today because we got back on the court today again in California, on that swing taking on Cal. But the one thing I did want to note, the brightest spot I think out of the loss on Friday, Chelsea Thorpe had 13 kills and hit at a 379 clip, which is super, super efficient. If you're not familiar with hitting percentage in volleyball, it's one of those things it's one of those numbers that measures the efficiency of an attacker. And it's a computation, kind of like baseball, batting average and OPS and all that. Well, some of that other stuff, OPS type stuff. It's kills minus attack errors, and then divided by the total attempts. So if you're hitting, like I said, she was 379 on 13 kills. If you're hitting that 300 to 400 in that 300 range, I mean, it's I guess it's kind of like baseball and the batting averages when you're hitting 300. that is good. Over 400's elite. And I don't have the number in front of me. I'm not going to look it up because it's probably depressing, honestly. I forgot to make a note of what our total was hitting, but it, like I said, is what it is. Part of it's how you come back and how you battle back. And we came back, like I said, we came back this afternoon, took on Cal, who, we should beat, and we did. Swept them and had a pretty easy time doing it. Second set was a little tight, or was tight. The first and third sets, we imposed our will and played like we play and like Carolina can play. And so that was cool to see. And we spread the wealth. I had the number again. I had the numbers up here earlier. We spread the wealth really well as far as kills. I think we had 6 folks with at least 5 kills, if I remember the numbers correctly. For total, I think the team hit 310 at a 310 clip total for the match, and only had 10 errors. That's again. Yeah, I talked about Chelsea's 379 by herself in the loss to Stanford, but for Cal, as a team, hit 310. That's you're doing a good job. You are efficient, and your offense is doing well, especially on having those 10 errors. Really says a lot of stuff. Noteworthy from the one really noteworthy thing I do want to bring up from the match today was Libero and DS Maddie May became the 6th Carolina player to reach 1,500 digs in her career. And she's a 4-year player now, and she's played the stat I saw today, which I didn't realize, she's played every set in her 4-year and in her 4th year now at Carolina, every set. That's good work. And she's volleyball, liberos and DSs are they set the table. I mean, set her, but got the passing going, and my daughter's a libero DS as well. So, another soft spot for the position. So, but awesome work there. Beginning of the week, we did have a couple players that made ACC Player of the Week, had ACC Player of the Week honors. Lauren Shutter for the performances last weekend was Defensive Player of the Week, and freshman setter Sienna Kaza for her performances last week. If you remember, she had 28 assists in the Friday night match, and then 30, set her career high again as a freshman, playing a lot of meaningful minutes with 30 assists on Sunday. She was the ACC Freshman of the Week. The polls that came out last week, the coaches poll that comes out for volleyball came out last Monday. And even after a loss to a tough loss to a number 4 Pitt team, we jumped up 6 spots in the poll to number 15. So we'll see what happens after, another loss and what we get on that Monday. But it's, polls aren't everything, it's everybody likes the rankings, and that's good. But it's a good measure and a good, I guess it's a good reward to Coach Shaw and the staff and the program for the work they've done. It's the highest ranking we've had since the 2017 preseason ranking, I believe. But then, so next up, next up for volleyball this week, two home matches in Carmichael. We got UVA on Friday night at 7 and Virginia Tech at home on Sunday at 1. Carmichael Arena. If you're in and around, check it out. Get there, see it. See the new TerraFlex floor that we played on a couple times now. Really, really awesome looking floor. And so that's the volleyball end of things for this past week, and then what's coming up. I'm gonna go to wrestling next. Again, another love for me. Hadn't wrestled a duel yet last week. But the poll that came back out after the preseason poll, we stayed 23rd in the poll, which is one of those things. We stayed there. We did have the home opener today. excuse me, had the home opener today in Carmichael against Northern Colorado, or UNC also, which is kind of funny. It's UNC versus UNC. And, you know, this year I'm not quite sure what we've got from the team. We've got some transfers. We got freshmen. We lost a couple transfers last year that were key pieces. But you know, we did what we should have done in Northern Colorado, which is a 40-0 shutout. And so, you know, obviously 10 matches, 10 weight classes with wrestling, won them all by varying degrees. Didn't have any pinfalls, but we did have 3 tech falls in that, and that was I'll, you know, holler those folks out. It's I can't read my writing. I don't have my glasses on. The number 19 ranked 141 pounder Luke Simcox had a tech fall, which is winning by 15 points. Once you get to 15 points in wrestling, it's at least 15. It's over, and it's awards you basically five team points towards the team competition score. Highest you can get other than a pin or a forfeit or medical default, which is 6 per match. Number 32 ranked 197 pounder Robert Platt, and the number 25 ranked 285 pound heavyweight Nolan Neves. All 3 of those guys had tech fall victories. We did have some folks out at the Pembroke Open today wrestling, and the notable one there was a redshirt freshman Aiden Schlett, won the 184 pound title on that. So awesome job there. Next up, another home meet Saturday, 3 p.m. in Chapel Hill in Carmichael against Navy. So Navy's always, you know, they're tough. You know, military academy, disciplined, tough guys. Little known fact, I actually went to Navy wrestling camp when I was in high school. I lived up in Northern Virginia for 3 years of high school because my dad was at the station at the Pentagon. And so one summer I wrestled. Like I said, I wrestled junior high and high school. So I did spend a few weeks in Annapolis at wrestling camps at Navy, which was a cool experience too, to just, you know, be around the Naval Academy. But that's it on the wrestling front. So with the wrestling front going on that, one of the lesser knowns, let's say, and I have, you know, it's something I've started watching more of it. I will say it's not something I paid a whole bunch of attention to, and that's fencing. And Carolina, and I think I said it last week, Carolina's surprisingly good. I mean, if you wouldn't think about it, Carolina, if you didn't know, we're good in fencing. The preseason poll, actually, like I told you, we had the duel with Duke last Saturday at up in the blue zone and pulled off, got a victory on one and a loss on the other, close loss on the other side, on one side. But the preseason polls did come out, the coaches polls for fencing this week. The men's team our men's team Carolina is ranked number 10, women's team number 13. So again, we've got a history there. We've had the last couple of years. We've been strong. We've had ACC champion or 2 in the mix. So you know, it's definitely something, you know, it's something to watch out for, and it's different. You know, that's part of the Olympic sport thing, and part of my whole purpose and reason for being here, and the reason, you know, I got hooked up with Nathan and Alan was just to be able to talk about this stuff. Like I said, just so people can hear a little more about it in case you didn't know. And you know, again, shed some light on these programs for people that aren't aware, just so you can see the good work that the athletes and the coaching staff for these programs are doing, that deserve some attention, and, you know, to be talked about a little bit, if you know, basically. But yeah, they this weekend were in Columbus, Ohio, competing in the elite duels. Had a lot of several high-ranked teams there. Like I said, we're 10 and 13. Yesterday the men's team yesterday went 3-1 on the day. Only loss they had was to Harvard, the Harvard men, who are ranked number 3. The women went 3-2 yesterday. Their only losses were to number 3 Harvard and number 5 Northwestern. So, you know, teams ranked high above them, and that's all they were. That's all only losses they had. It's all good experience, especially when you're higher caliber. It's like any sport. When you compete against people that are higher caliber, it teaches you stuff, and you raise your game a lot of times, makes you better. Went in today, and each team, men and women, went 1-1 today. The one loss both of them had was to number 7 Penn on both sides. Their men and women's teams are both ranked number 7. But our men and women also, their one victory was upsetting host Ohio State. The Ohio State men are ranked number 5. Ohio State women ranked number 6. So again, maybe it's the tough competition from Saturday that kind of fed into today, but again, taking down number 5 and number 6 respectively for the men and the women, to really show the good work there. Next up for the men's and women fencing is going to be in the November North American Cup, which is in Fort Worth, and that's going to be Friday through Monday of this week. So Friday and then into next Monday. So again, good work by the fencing team. Got some ranked teams that people probably don't know about, but that's one of the reasons Carolina is what we are and as strong as we are. So cross country didn't have anything happen this week. If you remember, go back to last week, ACC championships were last week for cross country. They did rank. The new rankings did come out for the coaches poll for cross country for the national rankings. The women who had been unranked had received votes, but it had unranked after their strong performance. Their third place finish for the team re-entered the national poll at number 13. So it's a volatile movement in there. That's a big jump. So all the polls aren't the same. I don't necessarily understand how some of them work. Some polls for various sports are more on a computation. And that might be a reason for the jump. That's a huge jump, but either way, it's rewarding the team and recognizing the team for the good work they did in the ACC championships. The men who wound up finishing 6th in the ACC championships, which to me was disappointing, fell 4 spots to number 27. The national polls for cross country have 1 through 30, so. They fell 4 to number 27. Southeast Regionals, NCAA Southeast Regionals are in Charlottesville on Friday, and that's the next thing up. So that's this coming week on Friday to get our cross country men and women back on the course, and see if we can't get some folks qualified for the NCAA championships that'll follow the next week. So. I'm trying to see where to go next. Where I want to go next. I'm saving the best for last, by the way. So saving the best for last. Men's and women's tennis. Remember mentioned last week, ITA sectionals taking place this weekend in Chapel Hill, actually, at the Tuning Tennis Center. Both of those events were here, and we had a few folks that qualified for the NCAA singles and doubles championships out of the last group in the ITA qualifiers. These East section or the sections. Did I say sectionals or regionals before? It's sectionals that took place this weekend for the ITA, and we did have a few folks that actually punched their ticket on the men's and women's side, both that punched their ticket to the singles and doubles championships from their play yesterday. I think, and I will say, I think there was one. We had a Carolina on Carolina today on the men's side to get to the sectional finals, and I have not seen the results on that yet. So there could be more added to this in the end, but I hadn't seen the results as of the time I'm recording this. But for the men's, for the singles championship guys that punched their ticket were senior Rowan Jones, freshman Ian Mayu, and junior Niels Rachu. So sorry, the cough was not, was unintentional with the name Rachu, because that sounded like I might have sneezed, which I did not. I promise you that's his name. And I had to look up the pronunciation because I wanted to make sure I got it right. And then that was on the single side. The double side for the men, we had a pair, Ian Mayu and Case Schinnerer, that punched their ticket as a doubles team to the doubles championships. On the women's side, coming out of this weekend, Thea Radman punched her ticket to the singles championships. So again, good work there. You know, we have a history on the tennis side, especially recently, for really good play, and the women, most notably from what we've done and what Coach Calbass has done with the women's team over the last few years with winning championships, ITA championships, NCAA championship. So again, good work there. See how everything progresses, and hope their runs at the singles and doubles championships that'll be upcoming go well. Swimming and diving is where I'm going to hit next. We had a duel with South Carolina and down in Columbia, and our men who were ranked number 19, unranked South Carolina. The men took care of business, 174.5 to 125.5. The women had another tough one, and you know, the women are ranked. Our women are ranked number 14 right now, and they've battled a lot of ranked women's squads this year in duels, and it's had a little rough go of it. I think the men are 3-1 in duels at the dual meets at this point. The women now are 1-3. They lost to number 7. Our women are 14. They lost to number 17 ranked Game Clock Squad, 176 to 124. So that's one of those things. You know, it goes like that, right? I guess, like I said, it goes like that sometimes. In a couple weeks, though, they're off as far as competition. They're back down in Columbia for the South Carolina Invitational Friday week, starting Friday week, so the 19th through the 21st, I believe, are the dates there. I mentioned her last week when I was talking about swimming team and some of the history we have, especially recent history. If you were at the football game yesterday, you did get to see Aranza actually receive her Patterson Medal. If you don't know Patterson, if you're not familiar with the Patterson Medal, it's the highest honor awarded to student athletes in Carolina. And you know, I've said it before. She is one of the greatest, and we've got a lot of decorated athletes at Carolina. We're lucky in that regard, but she's right up there. She is right up there with them. Again, if you were at the game, you heard the accolades for her, but they bear mentioning when I talk about how good she was in her career and how deserving she was of the Patterson Medal. 4 NCAA titles in her career. She went back to back. She went back to back years in the 1 meter and 3 meter diving. For those to make up those 4 titles, got 8 ACC titles. I think she three-peated in the 1 and the 3 meter diving events for the ACC championships, and then sprinkled in 2 platform diving ACC titles in there. So 8 ACC titles, 11 different All-American honors, and ACC Women's Diver of the Week 18 times, most outstanding diver in the championships a couple years, and actually the second most. And I'm going to read this to make sure I get it right. The second most individual NCAA titles at UNC. She's tied for second most, and number 1. And again, I talk about how great Aranza was, but then to look at number 1 is also a UNC swimmer, Sue Walsh. She had 8 individual NCAA titles. You know, so the history, whether you know it or not, we have history. We have a rich history in pretty much every sport that we've been competing in for any amount of time. We've attracted the athletes and had the coaching staffs and all these places to really put these folks in high level competition and really delivering the results that make us. We always like to say university national champions. Bears it out, be it a team stuff or individual things, individual titles. it's as good as you can get as far as I'm concerned. Let me hit men's and women's soccer. Women's soccer, if you remember, did not make the ACC tournament. It's like I said, there's only the limited number of teams in the ACC tournament in women's soccer for whatever the reason that is. So they were basically off this week waiting as the ACC tournament has played out. I believe Stanford won it today. I believe the finals were today, and Stanford brought home the ACC women's soccer title. The draw comes out tomorrow. Waiting to see what we get, if we get. So we'll wait on that. And then the tourney will start Friday, I believe. But we did have the ACC did announce the all ACC teams for women's soccer this week. We had one first teamer in Olivia Thomas, no second teamers, two third teamers in Kate Fossey and Linda Olmark, and Hope Munson brought home all freshman team honor. So, like I said, it's one of those years, especially coming off a national title. One of those things. We just had injuries that have affected us. We had some players that missed some time playing with national teams, which again, great experience. So it really, it might hurt. It hurts Carolina a little bit in the long run for that, but in the short run, in the long run, that pays off for us. So I would love to see where we get on the draw and get a chance to make some noise. Hopefully we get in, be able to make some noise, and never know. So men's soccer started out in the ACC tournament. We were the 9 seed, and we played in the first round against 8 seed Notre Dame on Wednesday night up in South Bend, and actually won that one 3-1. Advanced us to the quarterfinals today against the 1 seed Virginia. Came out, had a 1-0 lead, but ultimately fell 2-1 to the Cavaliers. So now we wait on that one also and see what our NCAA tournament fate might be on the draw. Again, see how that works out. The season is, I think we're 7-4-5 if I read the records correctly. We had a lot of draws, against highly ranked teams. Wake Forest and State have both had really strong, highly ranked teams. Drew both of those. I think we drew UVA earlier in the year, if I remember correctly. And so see what happens with that on those. And I think my last one, and this is like I said, I saved the best for last. And that's field hockey. Yeah. So I figured I'd close with the big finish. Field hockey this week. I'll just start at the end. The culmination was makes the rest of it anticlimactic. Culmination Friday night. Played the ACC tournament and got to the finals Friday night. We were the 1 seed in the tournament. Number 1 ranked team in the country, 1 seed in the ACC tournament. Friday night in the finals took on UVA and got that ACC title. So 9th consecutive, if you're keeping score at home. 9th straight ACC title, 28th overall for the field hockey program. And that also marked the 300th overall ACC title across sports for the UNC athletic program. We say it all the time, embarrassment of riches at Carolina. So good. We take it for granted probably in a lot of respects. But it's 300 overall ACC titles. Pretty strong. I mean, you really can't say much else about that. NCAA selection show is actually at 10:00 tonight, so we'll find out. We'll find out what it looks like, what our run at a title looks like. I won't say defending the title because we didn't win it last year, but we did win it the year before. So see where we go with that. Tournament MVP was for the ACC tournament was Danny Mendez, and we did have a few selections. I think four tournament team selections. First round NCAA games after the draw comes out should be, I think, Friday and Sunday if I looked at it right. But in addition to the tournament play this week, and I skipped straight to the championship, and I probably shouldn't have done that. Because we did have a match against Louisville on Tuesday in the quarters and beat them 2-1. Our semifinal match was supposed to be Wednesday and wound up taking place on Thursday because if you didn't hear, there was a UPS plane crash in Louisville. So they delayed that. But we took on the 4 seed Duke and beat them 5-2. So, it's just what we do, right? Better blue and all that. They did announce the ACC, all ACC teams this week as well. And we had 2 first teamers in Charlie Bruder and Riley Heck. 3 second teamers. Yeah, 2 first teamers and 3 second teamers. Second teamers were Danny Mendez, Isabel Bohr, and Sietske Bruning. All of them phenomenal players. So shout out to them and everything they've done and the work the program has done. We could probably sit here and forever and just keep harping on that, especially with Coach still around. And now, she's had this stellar, one of the best, most decorated college athlete period career for Coach Masson. And now as a coach, she just steps right in. First year out, she wins the national title. Gets another ACC championship. So that's 3 now. So what can you say? What can you say that hadn't probably already been said or written about Coach Masson particularly, but also the program. And Coach Shelton was no slouch either, obviously, Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. So that I'm trying to look and make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm sure I did. Women's basketball, which I'm not going to touch as much on, but I will call out, women's basketball because I don't think we haven't covered it anywhere else on our platform for Hill Brothers. So I'd be remiss if I just ignored Coach Banghart and the team and the work they're doing all together. And maybe as we go, I'll dig a little deeper into that too. Maybe that's someplace I go with this as this grows and evolves, just to do a little more. It's also a lot to keep up with. This week I started actually making notes throughout the week as things were happening. So I would have everything and then Thursday night and Friday and blown into Saturday. And I missed a lot of stuff. So I was doing a lot of catch up behind the scenes work, catch up to try to keep track of everything that happened because I let myself slip on it Thursday night and Friday with the game with the Kansas game, and I was there and it was a late night, and then obviously all day Saturday yesterday doing the tailgate and the game day show from the lot, and then the game last night. And then by the time I got home last night, I was wiped. So and my family was all out of town until today, so that was a good thing. So at least I could crash out and not have to do anything until volleyball and play practice for my daughter today. But I digress. No, the women's team did open the season last week. 90-42 win over North Carolina Central, and then a 71-37 win over Elon. So number 11 ranked team in the country right now. 2-0, good start. And let's be honest, it's what we would expect to. And you look at the scores bear out margin of victories that more along the lines of what you would expect with the talent we have. That's one of those things. Coach Portal and other things now too. Coach Banghart has done a great job with bringing in talent from all areas that she can grab hold of. They also announced two of the preseason watch lists, player of the year preseason watch list, which is the Ann Myers Drysdale Award. Senior Renee Kelly's, or actually junior Renee Kelly's on that, junior. Sorry. And then Nyla Brooks, tremendous super freshman. If you haven't seen her play, legit. Freshman of the year, Tamika Catchings Award. is the Freshman of the Year award. Preseason watch list for that. So there's a lot of hype. Like I said, number 11. The program has been trending up really nicely, and so look forward to see what they can do. And like I said, I may dive a little more into them going forward. It just we'll see how this plays out and how things grow with this, and where I decide to take things. So and it's if we get people saying, hey, I want to see, like I said, let me know what you want to see. Watch the stuff when you look at it. Hit me up in the comments and let me know. Let me know if there's other stuff you want to see, or you want me to focus a little more on this and that, and we'll tailor it and make sure that it's something that everybody wants to see, and we've got good stuff out there for people. So that for the week should be about it, and then where we're carrying into the following week. But we opened the show with me plugging the Southern Christmas Show and K-Bar Soap, and being sure folks go check that out. But I also wanted to go ahead and make sure that, in case you didn't know, you knew more about K-Bar Soap and what they really are, in case this is the first time you've actually watched, and so you haven't heard talk about K-Bar before. But K-Bar Soap, now we know you're the kind of person, the man who uses soaps. Now we know you're not this is unplugged, right? Raw. Now we know you're not the kind of man who uses soap shaped like flowers. K-Bar Soap makes hard charging, all natural grenade shaped bars built to blast the filth off your day. No chemicals, no shortcuts, no BS. These soaps scrub like a wire brush and smell like victory, with scents like napalm in the AM and whiskey and bad decisions. This isn't your teenager's body wash. It's a shower with pure freedom, made by a U.S. Marine. Ditch the bar, grab a grenade today. Well, cool, y'all. Thank you. We've got another week coming up with some basketball stuff and football again. Get back to that and see how things go. I missed the countdown. I just thought about that. My countdown that I do daily on Twitter. I didn't write the numbers down, so you don't get it this week. Sorry. Rowing. Rowing actually had the one fall regatta today. The Rivanna Romp in Charlottesville. I haven't seen the official results, especially from Carolina. I did see that UVA pretty much swept that. But I don't know. I don't have the results from Carolina, so I can't speak to it. I think our varsity 8, I think the varsity 8 finished 4th, maybe, if I saw that right. But I was just reading through real quick on something from UVA, not seeing it from Carolina. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. See, I didn't write that one down. So, but yeah, that's it. So y'all have an awesome week. Like I said, be sure to hit the subscribe, hit the like, check us out, watch all the other great content that's coming out and things that we've got out there that you might have missed in the past. And as always, go Heels.